Really excited to be here and see all of you. We are looking really wonderful and amazing. Please let the rich breathe. I'm going to be taking us on a brief journey on a day in the life of a product designer in the world of open source. Okay, my name is Alexis Abakasanga. It's nice to meet you. I am a contributor to Chaos Africa. I am also a product designer and open source advocate. It was a dark and stormy afternoon. I had just completed my final exams and I was dropped from an internship for reasons unknown to me. And at that time, I didn't have anything going on. And my younger ones would go to school and I would be the only one at home and I had nothing to do. And I checked Twitter and after refreshing my feed, I saw tweets lined up and I wish they were ads, but they were not. And all I could see was layer 5, Meshi IO, layer 5, open source. And I was like, what is going on? And then I had nothing going on for me. I was like, okay, you know what, let me see what the hype is all about. And I filled the form. And one thing with me is I don't like being idle. I waited for 2 days, checked my email, nothing. I was like, you know what, let me just join the Slack and see what's up. And from there, I got to familiarize myself with the community. I got to understand the world of Kubernetes because I was zero in that regard. I had to YouTube University, articles and all of that. And 3 months down the line, I had a first experience as a designer in open source, contributing to that project. All right, I just covered this. I really don't want you guys to snap me out of here. So, all right. Along the line, I got an invitation to participate in an NDA project. I also presented at a virtual Hacktoberfest event, and I got a community profile as a recognition for my efforts. Now, all this happened within the span of June to October, and I would also like to share the setbacks I faced as well. I left the community, and while in an attempt to clean my Google Drive, I accidentally deleted the newcomers resource, something I still regret till now, and it still weighs a ton on me, right? I was also stagnant on tasks, and I didn't participate in Hacktoberfest. And I actually have a reason for that, but then again, honestly, to me, it feels like an excuse, right? Because after I was done with school, I had to prepare for my convocation and then orientation camp. So I communicated with the people over at Layer 5 that this is what is going on, this is what I'm doing, and this is why I will not be able to participate or continue with the NDA project, which is Meshi. So moving forward, I had a great time contributing to the Layer 5 community. And at first, when I started out, I didn't have any goal in mind. I just wanted to, be part of something greater than myself and also contribute and not just join the community and occupy space. And I feel and I believe that I made as much impact as I would have, but could I have done more? Certainly. And I look forward to improving on that moving forward. So basically, being a product designer in open source is really fun, right? You wake up, you're done with your other engagements. I now get to sit down and work on whatever it is that I'm being assigned to. And one thing I would really love each and every one of us to take home from this session is to be proactive. If I had waited for them to get back to me on that form, it would have taken months. But I was proactive and I asked questions and I was like, okay, this isn't right. Can we do it this way? Right. Desmond talked about capitalizing on projects and then also how can you help if you see them struggling. And so it was really great for me as well to also meet new people and grow my network, and I got to learn a lot from them, right? And that's just how fun it was, and I really had a good time. And now with Chaos and being here and seeing each and every one of us, I implore us to make impact as much as possible and not just be a statistic, right? We would all like to contribute, yes, but you want to contribute. I've never seen anyone who would want to do something and then not do it or not have it, whatever it is. So moving forward, as a designer, a developer, a technical writer, whatever it is you are doing, whatever field you find yourself, you can contribute by writing articles, by sharing your story online, any way possible. But please always keep it at the back of your mind that impact is important. So yeah, be proactive, document and share your journey. Don't be afraid to ask for help. I am still afraid of asking for help. So I am also working on that, and also to never stop learning. Don't be embarrassed by your failures. Learn from them and start again. The former statement, I'm still on that. Like, that's where I am. I haven't gotten to the latter statement. So it's a journey, and I'm really excited to continue to contribute to the world of open source. And I implore each and every one of us to, follow the right communities and make impact as much as possible. Thank you.
All right. Can we do that again? Like, give a round of applause for him. Also, does anyone have any question for Alexis? You tend to have lots of questions. That's cool. It shows that you're paying attention.
Okay. Thank you for the speech. So I don't know anything about product designer, but as a product designer involved in open source, do you do anything related to Figma? Or you just make suggestions? Because developers too, they clone the project, they work on the project. So as product designer, how do you contribute to the project itself?
So we use Figma, and there would be existing bugs or problems in be it their website that they could not have seen. And then, like I said, being proactive, you would go and find them and be like, okay, this isn't aligned this way. And then you have a general Figma file where every designer is on. And then for them to know that you are actually delivering, they would give you edit access. Not everyone that has that. Everyone is maybe on view. Everyone is on view. But then when they see that you actually want to contribute, they will give you edit access. And then you would follow. There's a particular template for every respective project on how you can contribute. You don't just jump on the board and make drastic changes that would affect them.
Awesome. Any other question? Okay, cool.
All right. So this question is actually a question that a lot of product designers usually ask me. I'm not a product designer. When you want to, open source is all about collaboration, yeah? And as a developer, we use the GitHub to collaborate and all other tools. So as a designer, how do you collaborate with other designers when you're into open source? Do you use GitHub? And how do you use GitHub to do open source collaboration as a designer?
Did you get the question? Okay.
That's a great question. I was actually avoiding that. I currently have a fear of GitHub. I still do, and I'm working on it, right? So yes, you do get to collaborate with developers on GitHub, and I would love each and every one of us to just have a basic understanding of GitHub, not necessarily like masterclass deep knowing what GitHub, just know how to find issues, how to comment on them, and GitHub, yes, the simple GitHub workflows. So yes, you do get to collaborate with developers on GitHub.
Did that answer your question? Partially, right? I mean, how can they reach you if they want like to ask more questions? What's your handle? Okay, that's the rules. So you can join the CHAOSS community and ask your questions, then tag Alexis. Is Alexis on CHAOSS Slack, and he'll be there to answer your question. All right, thank you so much, Alexis. So we're talking about design. Fun fact, I think during the planning of this event, I get to collaborate with our design lead, Kingsley, to fix up some designs. That was really weird. He already had a template anyways, but it was on Figma, and it was an interesting experience. I'm not a designer, trust me. So I wasn't sure what I was doing, but I mean, it took all of the burden. He already had a template for us, right? So yeah. So moving on to the next agenda, we have another lightning talk, and that's by Blessing Eloho. Oh yeah, great. And she'll be talking to us about revitalize your community. Okay, I just have to say you look good today. Awesome. So, thank you.
Hi everyone. Okay. My name is Blessing Eloho. I don't know. My slide is coming up. Okay. Thank you. Okay, my name is Blessing Awensebe Eloho, and I'll be talking today on revitalizing communities. So, yes, this is me. I am a community manager. I'm a project manager with a non-governmental organization. I am also a Women Tech Maker ambassador, Google Women Tech Maker ambassador, and I also lead the Google Developers Group, PAPE, which is in Abuja. I am a microbiologist. I do laboratory research as well. Yes. I play drums. I'm a band major. So yeah, just an overview of the topic. I will be giving strategies on how to grow, not really grow, like rejuvenate your community, make sure that your community members are more engaging in the community as well. And also, we are going to be prioritizing their health, so I'll be giving tips on how to do that as well. So now, community health, I'll be looking at it from three different angles, which is the physical health, the social well-being, and also the mental health. For the physical health, I would like to ask a question. How many of us here do regular exercises in the morning? If you lie, okay. Oh, that's good. So for the physical health, is mainly your nutrition, your exercises. Those are like things that would help make you more healthy. Then there is the mental health as well. A lot of us get stressed out from our jobs, so it's best to share resources on stress management for your community, and also being able to talk about mental health as well. Then for the social well-being, organizing events, having people connect with one another, make them have like a sense of belonging in the community also help as well. So I'll be sharing a quick story about a friend of mine. It actually inspired me to have this talk. He is a techie, an active member of the community. Sorry, is it just me or there are some names from this? Sorry, does anybody want to contribute to this talk? I would like to hear because, please, I just have a few more minutes left. So I'll be sharing a story of my friend. He is a techie, active member of the tech community. So he was taking a class, Python, and he started having severe pains on his legs. So he just quickly rounded up his class, and he went back to his office, but he couldn't bear it anymore. He was screaming, a matured man. He was screaming, and then he got to a point he was begging his colleagues to cut off his legs, that he couldn't take it anymore. And then when he went to the hospital, the doctors were like, the leg is not the issue. It's from his spinal cord, his back. And the sitting position of him working on his laptop, that was what caused that. So will I say, lucky, unfortunately for my friend, his own happened at an early age. Most people, it happens at their old age, but his happened very, very early. So I'm just bringing this out here, trying to educate and make you all aware that sitting position really, really matters. So I'll be sharing this photo here. So you can see the shape of the spinal cord. What happened to my friend was the spinal cord. The shape of his spinal cord curved to like a C, to this position where he normally, so it's kind of affected him. So now there are like chairs and workspaces that are very, very convenient. I've seen some workspaces that you can stand, you can lie on your bed, and you know, they are like very, very supportive workspaces. So it's very, very important to prioritize the health of your community members. So I'll be sharing ways in which you can do that. First is promote education and awareness, just like I just shared a story. You can have people talk about this to your community members by collaborating with healthcare providers. Now, these healthcare providers, there are a lot of them within our community. So you can just have, it's not every time networking session, speaker session, in between your event, you can have somebody come talk to your community members, maybe for like 30 minutes or an hour. Then also support mental health initiative. I'm really, really impressed. You know, a couple of years back, we weren't hearing much about mental health as Nigerians. When I know these things, people don't really talk about it. But now a lot of people host Twitter spaces, they give talk on mental health, and which is very, very impressive. And lastly, you measure and evaluate impact. Get feedback from your community members. After doing all of this, get feedback from your community members. This will help you know if what you've been doing is valid or not. Now, why should we invest in community health? So these are some of the reasons. Some of the benefits, rather, for investing. If your community members are healthy, they tend to be more productive, right? So this is one of the reasons. Then there's increased innovation. If they are healthy, well, in a good state of mind, they tend to get ideas. You know, you'll be hearing a lot of startups, people getting startups from your community. And I don't know if some of, like in my community, the GDG Google Developers Group, they are like very, very active members there. And I'll be seeing comments on the group, like, oh, I am working on this project. Does anybody want to join? I'm building this app. I'm doing all of this. So there's like, if the members are not healthy, now who and I go, they think of ideas. No be so. So collaboration and all that. Then there's sense of belonging. Ensure that your community members feel valued in your community. You host events, you know, networking session, and all of that. Now, strategies for building a resilient and more connected community. So this is my main topic, but I use the community health because, like I said, you have to be healthy, you have to be in a good state of mind for you to be even active in a community, right? So now, these are the strategies I'll be sharing on how to ensure that your community is resilient and, you know, connected. So, sorry. The first one is to foster social interaction and collaboration through community programs, organizing events. Secondly, you encourage community participation and engagement in decision-making process. So there's something we do in my community just to get, especially the ladies, I don't know, but the Women Tech Maker group, they are not very, very responsive. So what we do is we seek their opinions. So if we're having an event, we'll reach out to them. Oh, what speaker would you like to see? Although they'll be mentioning these are Lagosians, the Adora, Ruth Ikega, Ada, but me, I cannot bring them. But at least that's a way of making them, feel valued and then their decision. But if they pick Abuja techies, we try our best to bring them there. So the next one is, okay, facilitate networking opportunities and build connection, which I have spoken on. Then establish inclusive spaces. I really love what they are doing with the Women Tech Makers, because the space, especially here in Nigeria, the space, I'm really impressed with the number of ladies that turned up. Please clap for yourselves, ladies. Because usually it's 80%, 80% guys in the room, but this is very, very impressive. So, promote volunteerism and collective action. Now, we have these amazing events, and I know Ruth is the community manager, but she didn't do this alone. There are a lot of volunteers that, work together. So, yes, promote this volunteerism. Some of your community members might not be active, but once there are like opportunity for them to volunteer, you see, oh, they bring their interest, and then after that, they become very, very active in the community as well. So these are some of the resources on mental health, on stress management, and basically what I have just spoken about. So thank you. This is me on Twitter. Thank you. And this is my LinkedIn URL code. You can connect with me.
Please give me a minute. All right. So, how many of us has done my social media challenge? What happened to the people over here? Okay. Thank you. Thank you. Okay, you have. You have. Okay, cool. Have you? You have. You have. Awesome. Awesome. That's cool. So the next on the agenda is a workshop. Are you excited? So we have a workshop on GitHub Copilot. Who knows about GitHub Copilot here? Do you know about GitHub Copilot? You know about GitHub Copilot. Awesome. Do you actively use GitHub Copilot? You use ChatGPT, right? Oh, you do? Okay, cool. But so we have a workshop on GitHub Copilot, and the facilitator for that is Ifion, and She's going to be, okay, give me a minute. She's going to be having an introductory session on GitHub Copilot, what it is and how you can get started using it. So if you're not familiar with it, which 80% of us here are not, and you want to learn, I mean, you should learn because it's a useful tool. So please just sit back and enjoy the session. How you feeling? Thank you. Just
You are good. As long as this is just you, you are good. Next.
Hi everyone. Okay, so I'm not the one taking the session, don't worry. So this session is an introductory session to GitHub Copilot. So I just wanted to give like a background of, why we are doing this session and, just a little bit of backstory. So we got a grant from GitHub to tell stories about how people are using GitHub Copilot to develop open source projects. So we are developing different stories, but this particular session is about introducing people to GitHub Copilot. So how many of you have heard of GitHub Copilot? Okay. How many of you have not heard of GitHub Copilot and are developers? Okay, great. How many of you have used GitHub Copilot? Okay. So for the people that have not used it, and even people that have used it can also participate in the session as well. So we are going to be clearing. How many people are with their laptops too that want to participate? Great, good. Okay, so we're going to be clearing out that table at the end, 2 tables at the end, and people can also sit here and use. But we still need some people to be there because we want to capture highlights of, people taking part in the session. So some people, we're going to clear out the tables while she's doing the intro session, and then some people can go sit there with their laptops and use it, so we get to capture the highlights as well. So yeah, if you can.
Okay, good afternoon, everyone. Can you hear me like audibly? Okay, so I'm glad to be here and to have this session on Copilot. Okay, please, can there be a little decorum? Like, it's kind of noisy. So, as I said, I'll be having like an introductory session to what GitHub Copilot is. I'll be giving an overview of like pre-Copilot time, and would have hands-on session on Copilot. So, I'm going to begin now. Okay, so it's not going. Okay, so meet me. I am an upcoming software engineer. I am a technical writer. I'm open source contributor. I do more of technical writing with open source. I contribute to the Julia ecosystem and the packages. And I am a community lover. That's why I'm here to give this session. So you could follow me or you could check me out on Twitter at Ifion. So introduction. So before the advent of AI-powered systems and coding tools, developers used to rely on like Google, you search on the web and you do things like that. So during that time, some of the practices and some of the things that developers used were code editors. You have JetBrains, you have Visual Studio Code, Sublime Text, and the likes. Yeah. Then you also have like IDs too there. So we have code editors and IDs. So we have code snippets, we have templates. You can find code snippets on GitHub. You can find code snippets on, which brings me to Stack Overflow, online communities like the Django project, different communities you can find on Slack and the likes. And you use the God of all, that's documentation. So each programming language, each package, everything, they have documentation, right? So everyone would use that. And it was kind of slow. Yeah, you can relate with me. You trying to find something, you have to read like 100 slides, 100 threads of Stack Overflow. It was really, really hard. And there were tools. There were tools that started coming up because technology was moving, technology was advancing, and then we had like several AI-powered coding tools that were trying to help with this problem. They were trying to help with productivity, with devs, and time management, right? So we have Tab 9. Tab 9 is like one of the most popular ones before Copilot. A lot of people used to use Tab 9. Then we have Kite that was developed by Kite AI. Kite is no longer in existence. I think they shut down. Then we have Deep Code, we have Codata, and we have IntelliCode. So these were actually existing before the existence of Copilot. And yeah, so now we already know that there were AI tools, right? But now, so what's Copilot? We're hearing Copilot, Copilot. What exactly is Copilot? So Copilot is an AI-powered code completion tool that helps you complete your code, like the name. And it was developed in cooperation with OpenAI. So like Microsoft and OpenAI have like been coming way back for a time now. So they use an LLM. So an LLM is a large language model, and it was built on OpenAI Codex that is actually, I think it's open source. So is this still open? So it is designed to actually assist developers. So Copilot works in a way that when you start writing code, it's like understands or it thinks of what you want to write. So for instance, let's say you want to write a function that adds two numbers. So you know, I'm a Python dev. So you know, if you want to write it, you're first going to call the method name, that's def, and then you write add two numbers or something. So Copilot to think of it like, okay, this person wants to write a function because he has seen def, and then it's going to be like, oh, okay, this person actually wants to add two numbers. And then it's going to come up with a suggestion that will help you return those two numbers. So you will see it like a suggestion, and it's up to you to actually see if you want to accept it or not. So, and lastly, it's a tool where productivity meets efficiency. So let's say you are doing monotonous things like you're writing tests and you want to finish up. So Copilot comes in and makes it to be more efficient in the sense that it's like knows you are doing this, and then it starts giving you suggestions on how you can finish up what you are doing and be more productive. So it's like a partner as you're writing is suggesting. So you don't have to actually leave your editor, right? So you just like, it's there, it's holding your hand like virtually. That's basically what Copilot does. It holds your hand as you're writing, and you can like write code. And obviously it's not perfect. So there are sometimes you can make wrong suggestions for you, right? And then it's up to you to now see if it's right or wrong for your use in your code. So Copilot, like I have said, it analyzes your code that you've written in that session. So if I'm writing a code in a particular session, Copilot would look at what I'm trying to do, and with that, it's going to bring up my suggestion. So that's it. So it could be different in different sessions, or the suggestion will be different in like different concepts or contexts of what you're writing your code. So that's basically how Copilot works. So the next thing is that in today's world of software development, like we're leveraging powerful tools like GPT. When Ruth asked how many people uses GPT, a lot of people raised their hand. So we can see that everyone is actually trying to meet up with productivity. No one wants to be lazy anymore, I believe. So, and everyone is trying to enhance their productivity so that, I mean, you try to meet deadlines, you try to finish records on time so that your employer will know you're a serious person and will give you more work or probably a promotion. So, yeah, this thing is not working. So what are the key features of Copilot? Now that we understand, I believe I've been able to pass across what Copilot is. So what are like the key features of Copilot that we have? So the first feature is AI-powered code generation. So it does this by searching. It's actually trained. If you go to GitHub Copilot website, you'll see it's trained on a billion lines of code. So with that in its knowledge, it knows what you're trying to do. I mean, it's going to be rare for you to be writing a code that someone has not written before. It's just that you can't find it. So now Copilot will help you to generate that code that you want to write. And we're going to see it in action here. So it helps you to actually generate your code. Then auto-completion. You could be writing a code. Like I can start writing. Maybe I'm doing palindrome and I've started writing it. So Copilot is going to look at it and be like, okay, I think this person is actually writing a palindrome checker. Let me help the person complete it. And then line completion. So you could be writing in your VS Code, maybe line by line, and then you help it to complete it. So it works for like a lot of languages. It supports like the common languages, even Markdown. As a technical writer too, you could use Copilot, especially if you're writing your README. So yeah, just like a bonus, or just like for the demo, I actually used Copilot to generate everything you see on the repository that we're going to use. So it's context aware. Like I said, it is aware of the context that you're using it inside. So it's not going to generate, or it really generates something that is out of context for you in that your particular code, so, or your particular session. So it's just have in mind that it's actually going to help you in that particular session. And then it has like multiple language support: JavaScript, Python, C, C++, any language you can think of that is actually written by people. So Copilot would, and you can even use it to like convert your code. So let's say you have a code in JavaScript and you want to convert it to Python. You just write in the comments or a prompt that you convert it to Python, and it will do it for you. And I've done it severally. And it's also integrated into Visual Studio Code. Like we all know, Visual Studio is owned by, Visual Studio Code is owned by Microsoft. So I mean, it's their tool, yeah? So they'll have to integrate it into it. So, this thing is not working. Okay, so what are the benefits of Copilot after we've seen it? So the benefits of Copilot, we have increased productivity. So let's say I used to write code maybe 4 hours before, and I'm using Copilot. Because it's suggesting for me faster, I would actually be more productive, and I hope not lazy. So it will make you more productive. You write your code faster, and also reduce repetitive tasks. Like I said earlier, if you're writing tests, you're always writing, especially in Django, like you're always writing, it's like almost the same thing. They almost do the same thing, but like for each use case. So whenever I'm doing it, I just write, and Copilot already knows what I'm doing. So I just accept everything. And I mean, I've written like 300 lines of tests before with Copilot, and everything was working. All I just have to do is that I just have to look at it that, oh, okay, I think this is right. I think I want to remove this. I think I want to remove that. So Copilot will help you to like reduce those repetitive tasks so that you don't like keep on doing it, and then your work looks monotonous. So learning aid, Copilot will help you to like learn. I'll be using myself as a personal example because I use Copilot a lot. So there was a time I was writing a code. I was working on a project, and I was trying to achieve something, but I could not achieve it because I didn't even know the function that was existing in Python to do it. I mean, programming languages have like a lot of functions and all. So I was writing it, and all of a sudden, Copilot suggested something for me, and I accepted it. I was so desperate at that time. So what I just did was, I accepted it, I ran it, the thing worked. I was like, wow. Then I now clicked on it, and I saw, oh, this thing actually exists. And with that, I was able to learn like 2 to 3 to 5 more functions that do similar things in Python. And I was actually happy because if Copilot did not do that for me, I don't know, I would have been reading tens of like Stack Overflow questions, because eventually I'll find it. And the time I used to find it would be like 1 week. And I had to submit that thing like very fast. So code quality improvements, you improve your code with Copilot. If you ask it to probably refactor something for you, you want to change, you don't want to use maybe if statement somewhere, you want to use while loops, Copilot to help you do that. So you can improve your code for you. It's basically, like I said, it's like your pair programmer when you're writing code. And Then collaboration, so you're collaborating with Copilot to help you. So you are learning from it, it's learning from you to give you better suggestions, and it's helping you to be a better programmer. And also accessibility. So you have access to like a lot of suggestions, you have access to a lot of code, you have access to basically a lot of things with Copilot, because like I said, it was trained on 1 billion lines of code, it was trained on like multiple repositories on GitHub, so it has access to a lot of things that you don't have access to. So I mean, it's going to give you better things. So that's like one of the benefits of using Copilot. So I hope after this session you should be able to use, or you should enjoy using Copilot. So the next thing I want to do is, I think it's the demo. Okay, so what are the limitations and challenges? Copilot is good, yes. Copilot has a lot of benefits. It make me 10 times dev. I can build an e-commerce site in 30 minutes. So what are the challenges? So now, while Copilot has like significant benefits, yeah, it also has like some limitations and challenges. Number one, like I mentioned, incorrect suggestions. So Copilot is not perfect. I mean, all AI tools out there, all of them are not perfect. So it could give you an incorrect suggestion. So you pick it and then you'll be like, oh, Copilot gave me this wrong thing. That's like a limitation. Maybe it did not understand, or you didn't write a correct or a more descriptive prompt for it. So it's like, I don't know what to do here. Let me just give you something. Take. So lack of domain-specific knowledge. So Copilot knows everything. No, most things, maybe 99%. But I mean, that 1% is a limitation. So it doesn't have knowledge on like a lot of things. So let's say you're writing, for example, I write Julia, and when I'm writing, it's giving me, like, for instance, I want to do regex in it, and then it's giving me something that is very funny, and I'm like, this is not what I want. And then I have to go and look for it somewhere. So it doesn't have, like, knowledge on that particular thing. So that's, like, a limitation. Then security and sensitive information. Like I said, it scans, like, a lot of code on GitHub and a lot of code everywhere. So there might be sensitive information that someone will keep somewhere that don't want to share it, and Copilot to bring it to your front, opening someone's secret to you. I don't mean like secret keys, do I mean like maybe sensitive information, maybe, I don't know, anything. Then over-reliance on suggestions. So now this is when you're addicted to Copilot, and then Copilot is writing your code for you, and then the only thing you are doing is prompt engineering. You're writing, okay, generate this for me, generate that for me. And then when they call you on stand-up, okay, can you explain to us how you did this thing? And you're saying MMM. That's one thing there. So, I mean, you're over-reliant on it, and while it's good, it's making you more productive, but I mean, you're skipping a lot of fundamentals that you're meant to know. So, as you are using it, also try to, like, learn. Then legal and license considerations. So I don't think Copilot knows which one is MIT or GNU or Apache or anything. It just bam everything to you. So that's one thing too, that Copilot, that's like one of the limitations, or the one of like the bad, I won't say bad side, but not good side. So next up, this thing I'm fighting. So now, we're getting to the demo session. So now I want to get started with Copilot. At the end, we'll still have questions in case you have questions for me. So getting started with Copilot. So, okay, nice. It's working very fast. So how do you get started with Copilot after all this English that I've said? So the first thing you have to do is, if you don't have a code editor, or you don't have Visual Studio Code, you actually have to like go to code.visualstudiocode.com to get Visual Studio Code. Then you install Copilot. You go to like your extension marketplace, you install it. Then you set up Copilot. If you don't have a GitHub account, you can quickly create one. It's free. You create it, and then Copilot isn't free. There's a free trial though that you can use. So you apply for the free trial and you go there and you check it. But do we have students here? So, okay, so yes, I'm a student too, and fortunately for us, Copilot is free. So Copilot is free for students. I mean, you need to have like your, you need to activate your student pack. So now, a lot of people don't know about the student pack. I used to suffer before about like, I have, there are a lot of things I use with my student pack. A lot of things like Algo Expert, Educative and the like. So it has like a lot of things there. So you can scan the QR code. I forgot to do it for the last one. So you can just scan it. It will take you there. Then you like, you show you're a student. If you don't have or you've not activated your student GitHub education, you have to activate it and you have to use it, and then you just connect it to your GitHub account and you're good to go. That's how I use it for free though. So is anyone still doing this? Okay, so that will take some time. Okay, so demo. So now this is like, I'll be showing it here, right? So now, before we move on, or before, okay, so before we begin the demo and we start doing wonders with Copilot, right? There's something that we need to know, that Copilot uses something called prompts. I know everyone or most people should know what prompts are, because like for you to use GPT or BARD, you need to know prompts. So a prompt refers to the input that you provide. So prompts is like basic stuff. If someone is at the door and I say open the door, that's a prompt. I'm telling the person to open the door and then the person will open the door for me, right? So that's a prompt. So now, some tips to take note of when you are using Copilot. Be clear and specific. You can't tell Copilot something that he doesn't understand. Maybe I want to do, let me see. I want to return two numbers, or I want to write Fibonacci sequence. So I just want to do something, and then I'm writing the story for Copilot, like, oh, today I went to the market, and then I saw somebody, and then the person was talking about Taylor sequence, and then I came home, and then I want to write it in Python, and like Copilot is, like, what's my business? Go straight to the point. So like you have to be clear and specific, right? So use natural language too. Like Copilot, at the moment, he only understands English. Last time I checked, so you can't be telling it French or Spanish or something. Copilot just look at you. So leverage best practices like using verbs. So you want to tell Copilot to do something for you. So you tell it, oh, generate, decode, encode, multiply, things like that will make it verbs. So I think there are like different courses on prompt engineering that you can use. You can learn prompt engineering if you want Copilot to like give you what you actually want. So that's like one thing. And then lastly, iterate and refine. So Copilot, like I've been stressing, it might not give you correct suggestions. So you could accept it, make your changes, and ask for more changes or anything. So I think after this is where the demo comes up. Is anyone still trying to set up Copilot as a student? So literally, you could read everything here. I kid you not, was generated with Copilot. Yes, yeah, it was generated with Copilot. So I just gave the prompt that, oh, this, and it just came up with everything for me. Saved me like 1 hour work because I don't know English. Okay, so who is still going to this repository? Okay, it's showing here. So just like load it up and sorry? So are we all on the same page? Okay, so I would come here and so okay, so this one too is pretty small too. Okay, sorry, I'm coming. Okay, yeah, I think it's one more. One more. So I think it's big enough, right? So yeah. So if you check the repository, I have an index.html. I think it's empty. Yeah. So let's see. Okay. So I have an index.html that is empty. Yeah, and so we'll just be doing like basic stuff with it since we're getting started. Nothing too serious, nothing too hard, and this. So yeah, as a student too, you also have access to tab 9. I use the tool a lot because I don't know how to code. So so now we have this Fibonacci series here. Let me close this here actually. So we have this Fibonacci series here that was written, and I hope everyone knows what Fibonacci series are. So even if you don't know about it, I mean, we could. So for starters, we could come here and how many people are Python devs? We have JavaScript and we have Python. I know those are like the most popular languages that a lot of devs use here. So how many people do Python? How many people do JavaScript? Well, many that do JavaScript though. Sorry, you people are many. So so if you come here, there's Copilot. Yeah, you could also download Copilot Labs. So Copilot Lab helps you to explore, or it's also like Copilot. So I think it's still in its early phase. You can use this to explore, to translate it into another language. Basically, it's like a lab for Copilot, so you could also use it. So yeah, let's go back to this, and I come here and I just put docstring like 1, 2, 3. So now Copilot would know that okay, I'm trying to I want to do something, right? And also sorry, I forgot to mention. So if you already have Copilot on your VS Code, you should be seeing something like this. Yeah, so this is Copilot here, and when you click on it, something should come up. I don't know why it's not coming up. It should tell you something about discipline, Copilot or not. So now I'm here, and let me see. So whenever you write, Copilot this thing is meant to have this circle. It's meant to be turning. It's basically thinking. That's it, showing it's thinking. So I don't know. So let me just say this function. My Copilot is not working. Hey, they're mutants. Yeah, I'm connected to the. So you also have to be connected. I'm connected to a network. Let me see. Let me try closing my VS Code. Sorry. Okay. Okay, so now I'm back here. So you can see that it's turning, right? So now it generates a docstring for me that says returns a list of the first n Fibonacci numbers. So to accept the suggestion, you could actually just hover around it, and then you'll see accept word, and it generates like 2 things for me. So I can click on it and I can see like 2 suggestions, right? So I have this and I prefer this. So now I just click on accept, and the shortcut is tab. So I just go tab and then I click on it. So now let's say now I'm writing it and maybe there are people that don't know what Fibonacci is. So I could just start writing like a Fibonacci number is, so it's like generates in phases for me. So is, I don't know, let me just say, is a number or something. So that is, so, I just click on tab, and a Fibonacci number is a number that is the sum of this. So you can see that it's helping me write my doc string. And it's for people that don't know, people like me that don't know what Fibonacci number is. So it actually helps me to generate. Let me make it kind of bigger. So, okay, so you can see that it actually helps me to like generate my doc string. I did not have to do a lot of things. I did not have to do a lot of thinking. You already knew what I was in, right? You knew the context, and the context was I was in a Fibonacci function, and then it returns like a doc string. I start with the doc string. I could actually just come under it, like I don't need to write the doc string. I just put a space on it, and then Copilot know I want to write a doc string, because in Python, doc strings are under like the function name. So that's like one thing too. So now let's say now I want to use like recursion. So I'll say maybe use recursion or something. So using recursion, in fact, it's actually generating. You can see that I don't know if it's hearing me, but I want to use recursion. So I'll just say using recursion, and it start thinking, and then first thing I put, and so you could see that it knows that I wrote a doc string previously, right? So because I wrote a doc string, it's providing doc string for me in this next suggestion. And I'm using recursion here. So I just come here. I could click on tab, but I want people to see what I'm doing. So I'll click on accept. So now I accept it, and like I can use it. So I just come up here and I copy this. So let's see. So now let's test it if it actually works. And it literally knows what I want to do. So I just copy this, and I just put this here, and yeah. So now opening my terminal. Sorry. Okay, so my terminal is so big. So I'm down here, and I just run this here, this play button. So now it's asking me enter the number of Fibonacci numbers I want to generate, and I put 4, and then it generates the Fibonacci number for me, and that is 0112. So it keeps on asking me until, let's say, maybe I want to say break it after first asking. I could just ask it. So that's it in Python. It's also the same thing in JS. So if you go to the JS, you'll see it's like a palindrome check that checks for like palindromes. So I come here, and I don't know, I want to like, let's come here first and try something. I haven't tried this before, so I just say this. So let me say optimize. Is it optimize solution for, or optimized function rather, function. And then I come down here, and it starts. I come down here again, and this and this. So I'm basically pressing enter, and I'm pressing tab, right? And I'm just going, please, are we following? Okay, thank you. So I come here, and I think that should be all. I don't know, it's still in the spirits. So I'm done. So yeah, so that should be, oh Jesus. So that's all, right? So now I've returned this. So let's say I'm doing DSA2, and I want it to give me in an O of N solution. So I put it there in my prompt. So I can come up here, and I can just copy this and put it. So I'm up here, and in let me see. O of, sorry, OC. So now I come here and it gives me, so now you have to check it one by one. I don't write JS like that, so I mean, I don't know what, if it's what was giving me is right. So I just get it done. And okay, so I have this and it should be done by now. I don't know why it's giving me line by line though. And that should be all. So now with this, I have been able to generate an O of n time complexity and O of 1 space complexity for my code. And if you scroll up, I think it's like almost the same. It's literally the same thing. So it gave me an optimized solution for what I was going to do. So now let's see if we could write a doc string too. So I come up here and I put, okay, so, and no, I don't want this. So I want to say function. I think this is where they write. Okay, so function to check if a string is a palindrome, right? And I have it here. So Copilot, like, it's my pair programmer. So can you see how it's like a pair programmer for you? I have not left my screen to look if this code works. I mean, if the Python one works, the JS2 should work. So now I have one more thing too. So now let's go to the HTML.css. Now the HTML.css, did I just say HTML.css? The index.html file is empty, and we want to do maybe a simple landing page, right? That doesn't have anything inside. So you could start an empty string, an empty file with Copilot. So you could just come here and you put you put your comments. So I start. Sorry, I'm coming. So just say this. So generates a landing page with a button. So let me say I want with a button. It's a button, and I want to add little CSS to it. So I could say an internal CSS. So I'm being more specific because I know that, you can write external and internal CSS, right? So I want my CSS, because it's going to be pretty small, nothing too serious. I want my CSS and I want my HTML to be inside one file. So I come here and I do CSS, and yeah. So now it's going to start. Copilot has started generating my code for me, and then I accept. Then I come here and continue accepting. I'm pressing tab, so I don't want to start clicking on like accept. So all the actions that you are seeing here, I'm just clicking tab. I come down. I know it's not done. So I come down again. So body, anything else, that should be all. So now we're done with this. And so let me see. I could just let me drag it to my this here, and so now Copilot, I have coming. So now I have I told it should generate a landing page with a login button for me, right? And what did it do? You actually obeyed my orders or my command or prompts, and it gave me a login with it. So obviously it's not going to work because I did not connect anything to it. So I click on this, I'll have this. So now as a dev, this is where I come in and I start writing my code. So I could go back to here and let's see, come in 1 minute. So I could just come here and I could say maybe H1. I want an H1 tag, and let me say welcome to my landing page. Welcome to my, let's go pilots. To my landing page. So now I come here and I control R it. Oh, it doesn't work. Oh my god. I'm not front end dev. Okay, let me see. Okay, I should have put it inside the div. No wonder. So Copilot he knew I was an Olodo, and then he said, I'm not going to help you complete the nonsense you're writing, right? And then he left me alone. And then I was doing my own. So now I have this, welcome to my landing page. I think it's because it's too big. So if I have this, so this is how it looks like, and I can do my wonders I want to do with it. So, I mean, Copilot has given me like a starter code for what I'm doing, right? So I don't have to start thinking of, oh, I want to design the button. So I could come here, I could change the color, I could do anything I want to do. But it was an empty file before, right? Like we all saw, it was empty, and I used Copilot to do that. So there are other things too that I can do with Copilot. So let's say let's come back to Python, and I will just come here and say convert. Let's see if it works. Convert above code to JavaScript, and come here. Or let's do PHP. I'm talking about too much. Oh, let's do PHP. Oh, sorry, how do I write PHP? Oh my God. So now so you can see that it knows that I am not in a PHP environment, right? So now it's giving me a comment as it should, and I write this. So so I think that's it. So you can see that it knows that I am not in a PHP environment, like I said, and it will put the code I'm looking for, or the one I'm generating. It's going to put it in comments for me in that language. So now when I now want to take it to another language, then I would now be able to uncomment it there, and I mean use it. So it can work for me. I can convert to various languages. I can do anything. So I think this is all for it. It still goes on. Wow, interesting. Wow, so many curly braces. So now, okay, so this part is just asking me for like questions. So now let's say, what else can we do? So let me create a README file and call it today.md. Today.md. So now I want to start writing this, and I come here and I say today, right? So now I can start something. I can say today is a good day. I mean, today is a good day, right? We're learning about Copilot, so it's a good day. So, and then I continue. I'm not doing any work. So I'm going to do some work. I mean, it's just like random text, right? But let's say I have a project that I'm working on, I can use Copilot to actually come up with this. So let me open up the README here. So this Copilot, this README here. So what I did was I just put GitHub Copilot session at CHAOSScon Africa. I wish I recorded it. And then it gave me everything down here. The only thing I changed in this was this. This was the only thing that I wrote in this README. Everything here was generated, same as the license. So I told it it's an MIT license, and it gave me an MIT license. The only thing I changed here was writing my name, because Copilot doesn't know my name. So that's like the only thing I changed in the tool. So this particular repository was used, or Copilot was used for everything here, because I was trying to demonstrate Copilot. So I think that's like all. Does anyone have anything else they want to see with Copilot that I could try? Any suggestion? No suggestions. Okay. All right. So I think that's basically all. There are a lot of things you could do. So it's because I'm working on like a very simple repository here. So let me see if I can get like some code that I'm working on. So I'm working on this particular project. Don't worry, it's open source, so I can like show it. So like now I'm working with this, and I come here and let me see. oh no, it's not constant. So I think it's the interface. So yeah. So in like, if I want to write test for this code now, I could. So let me see. If I remove this code and I actually want to write it, Copilot will suggest the same thing for me. So let's see. Let me add one more. Let me add one more. So you could see that it's actually, it knows I'm writing typed Python. So it's giving me my Python in a typed version. And I come down here and I do def MSG. Let me do MSG or something. So, and I do this. So, I mean, it knows that I'm writing, or I want to write for, sorry, I did not do this. Don't let me embarrass myself. Okay, so now, this. It knew that I was going to write a method for like the MSG variable, and it gave me it. So Copilot understands what you're doing, Copilot understands what you're writing and everything, and then it will give you like a suggestion. So throughout this demo, I didn't have to go to Stack Overflow or Google or anything that I use for searching to actually check for how to convert my Python code to PHP especially. So, I mean, that's like the beauty of Copilot. So I think we've come to the end of this session. Thank you very much. If you have any questions, you can ask me.
Thank you, Fian, for that amazing session. Did we learn anything in the workshop? I like that. All right. So, what did you learn?
I learned about GitHub Copilot, the steps to take, adding the extension to your VS Code. Yeah?
Did you talk about that? Okay.
And you have to sign up. I'm not a student, so I won't have a free. I'll have a free trial, yeah, but it's not going to be free for me since I'm not a student.
Yeah. Okay. I'll take that as a pass. All right. I mean, we all said we learned something now. Why is everybody hiding their face? You're trying to hide. I can see you. No, I can see you. Hi. What did you learn?
All right.
Okay, that's fine. Let me not put you on the spot. Who wants to like answer just one thing they learned during the session?
Okay, I learned how to install Okay, I learned how to install the app, the video call. Yes. And
Okay, she learned how to install the GitHub Copilot software, right? Or is it app? Is it an application now? Is it an application? Oh, an extension. Oh, okay. You want to say something? Yeah, let's have you.
GitHub Copilot helps you complete your code, and it also like gives you aids so that you can have more efficient tools to use while you're coding. So you don't have to like code everything from scratch. It helps you suggest code and complete code for you. Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for everyone that contributed. All right, great. I mean, when I asked, almost everyone said they learned something, and that's really important, especially for us, what we're trying to like achieve with that session. So moving on, we're going to have our second keynote. Who is excited? Who is excited? Okay. All right. So we'll be having Anita. That's our second keynote speaker, and she'll be talking about navigating the chaos community from beginner to pro. So if you're interested in the chaos community, you want to understand how you need to start moving from exploring to actually contributing, you should pay attention to this session.
Thank you. Hey everyone. Hello everyone. Okay, I'll try to be as loud as possible. Yeah, my name is Anita, just like she said, Anita Ihuman, in case you're wondering how to pronounce the second name. It's Ihuman. Yeah, and short story before I get into the section. I'll be speaking about chaos, and the first time I got to hear about the chaos community, I had a lot of questions. I would go back to Google each word in the acronym, and I'll come back and reach out to Ruth, and I'm like, I still don't understand. What does this community do? What are we trying to achieve? How do I come in? And after I asked Ruth, I'll go back to math, and I'm like, math, can you help me? I really want to contribute, but I don't know where to come in, because this looks like an interesting community, but I'm having so much difficulty. And I think that's the story for every single person that joins the community. So today I'll be speaking about how I got in and how you can also get involved as well. So a little bit about me. I am a developer advocate. I am also a technical writer. I'm contributing to quite a number of open source communities, weird. But Chaos, Layer 5, the Good Docs project are some of the few that I'm trying to champion currently. And I do love to speak about topics on open source documentation, cloud native stuffs, and all of that. So yeah, that's just all about me. And so let's get into what I'm talking about today, which is chaos. What exactly is it? So chaos is an acronym which stands for Community Health Analytics Open Source Software. Now, like I said, I always Google this like over and over, trying to make sure that it did make sense to me. And I'll come back again and say, what does community health, how does it align with the open source? How do we come in? But basically, what Chaos does is we create metrics and analytics that are focused towards open source communities, health, and sustainability. And there's so many ways that we actually do this, which is first developing metrics, which is the major thing Chaos focuses on, lots of metrics. If you join the Chaos community today, the first thing you might hear will be metrics. So yes, we develop metrics, and what are these metrics? Like standards that open source communities can use to work on their own communities to attain that health and sustainability we're talking about. We also work towards leading programs and programs that also try to champion these metrics. We also develop methodologies that you can also use to implement some of these practices that we're working towards. And we have so many initiatives within the community that you could also get involved in as a contributor, as a partner, as an organization, whatever it is you want to come into the Chaos community as. And then there are like so many things that we do in Chaos community, aside talking about metrics. But the Chaos focuses primarily on contributors. Why contributors? Because so many persons that are contributing want to feel welcomed within the communities that they're contributing to, and Chaos metrics and standards are focused towards that. We focus on communities because we want to make sure that these communities are healthy for the contributors, and they also use some of what we're putting out to enable and improve on their communities. Then for companies, for people that are building companies and probably trying to set up companies, some of these metrics also come in handy for the setting up as well. And then for foundations, you want to donate to a particular project. You want to be sure that this project meets the cultures that your foundation works with, and they both align before you can go on to do all of that. And so we exist for both contributors, communities, companies, foundations, and every single thing that talks about open source software development and health. And there's so many things that come together to achieve this. First, we talk about metrics. And so when we're talking about metrics, we have metrics around so many things. Metrics around governance and leadership, metrics around community health, metrics around life cycle, software, events, diversity and inclusion, and so many other metrics, and there's still more to come, that's for sure. And then we also try to come together as a community, and we do that through our working groups. We have several working groups that are responsible for putting together these individual metrics. And we have the DEI working group that is responsible for the diversity, equity, and inclusion metrics. If you join that, there's so many other things that are happening within the working group, but I'll stop at that. Then there is the risks working group that is responsible for developing metrics around risks and compliance within open source communities and softwares. We have the evolution working group that's responsible for developing metrics around open source projects and software evolution, as well as community. We have the open source program office metrics, OSPO, that also like tries to tackle areas around universities and communities and so many other things within open source program offices. Then the common metrics that try to tackle other areas within open source generally that metrics can probably be directed towards. And then metrics model working group, where all of these metrics are discussed to fix together to make it beneficial to the users as well as the communities in the best ways possible. And then we also have, aside the metrics and the working group, we also have softwares that are developed under the CHAOSS community. Grimoire Lab, one of the softwares, is an open source project that actually helps to curate, to analyze, as well as visualize these metrics and data within your communities. And then Argo is a Python library that you can also use to collect some of these data around health and project growth generally. And then under the community initiatives, we have quite a lot. We have the badging, the DEI badging, diversity, equity, and inclusion badging, which covers two aspects. The event badging, where we use our metrics to try to help open source event organizers to measure as well as track their DEI efforts. And then after the review process is done, we recognize their efforts by issuing out badges. There are different badges. There's the gold, there's the bronze, there's silver. Yes, so that is for the event badging. And as an individual, you can also participate in reviewing. You can also bring up your events and apply as well. Then we have the project DEI badging, which is focused more on the community and project aspect, where we're trying to see that, okay, open source projects are actually as healthy and welcoming as they should be. And that is still in development, but yeah, we're trying to put that together as well. And then there are local chapters and communities, like the CHAOSS Asia and CHAOSS Africa, which is responsible for this conference, thanks to Ruth, of course. And then this has so many things that are currently going on within the CHAOSS communities other than just talking about metrics. And so you might be wondering, how can I be actively involved with CHAOSS? Well, there's so many ways. We just don't look out for people that probably know about metrics. You don't have to know what metrics are to actually actively participate in CHAOSS. So you basically just need, did I swipe that? Okay, I did. Yeah, so if you have design skills, you can definitely make great impact within the CHAOSS community. And we had one of the designers within the CHAOSS talk earlier, but in a space of 1 year, I noticed that there's been like great contributions in terms of design from the community, and that is awesome. That's to show that a lot of persons are actually hearing the word and trying to find ways to get involved as well. Now, you can also contribute in the development by building our web pages and so many other things. We have projects badging, which we are trying to put together the web page for. We have the CHAOSS site itself that you can also help in developing. We have the softwares, Argo and Grimoire Lab, that you can also participate in. And then under documentation, we always try to do a documentation audit to make sure that our documentations are up to date, to make sure that everyone is participating at all times. Then you can also participate by doing outreach, and this outreach can be in the form of speaking, telling people about projects, telling your conferences to apply for these badges, because the essence of these badges is to get it out to the community. We want to make sure that these badges are helpful to the individuals within the community, not just having a badge and knowing that, okay, you have a badge, your community is actually making real efforts towards the DEI efforts or impact as well. Then you can contribute to the metrics and model development. There's so many things that go underneath that, but you can also get involved on our team to put together some of these metrics that we already have or also improve on it. We have the website management, which is another way that you can also get your hands dirty within the community. Event management, just like this one we have here. So many persons came together to make this a success, and thumbs up to every single person involved. Then the DEI event badging review, where you can actually review projects that want to get badges. So you can also be a part of that team if it is something that interests you. Then the social media and communications, where we talk about our social media handles, making sure that the word on chaos gets out there to every other person. We also have newsletters that you can get involved in. You can create content in form of writing and all of that. And then, where do I start? I think this is a question that every single person asks after finding out what chaos does. Well, there's so many ways you can get started. The first is the Slack community. So join our community channels. Now you can join the Slack, where you get to see different channels that you can ask questions immediately. You can ask questions to one-on-one persons. You can ask questions in the general channel. Whichever way, we do not mind. Your questions will definitely get answers in one way or another. You can join our discourse channel, where you can also ask questions or start conversations and have people engage in your chat as well. Then join our working groups. Now, the only way to actually know what is going on in a particular space is by being involved in that space. So let's say you have interest in the DEI working group. You can't contribute from afar except you're within that particular working group or you're invested in that working group. So you have to actually join these working groups based on your interest, of course. And then you can follow up with our community meetings. We have a calendar where you can add yourself to and get notified whenever the meetings come up. It will be a great reminder, because a lot of times we tend to forget when meetings are going on, especially when we're carried away with our phones and all of that. But adding this to your calendar will give you a quick reminder whenever a meeting comes up, so you don't miss out on any. You can also get notified on impromptu events. Let's say we're having workshops and all of that. You get to catch up on all of that as well. And then, if you need any help after joining the community and you're not sure that you've received enough help or enough information to get on board, you can also ask for help, and you can do that with our quick start guide. It's available on our website. You can also check that. You can also join the newcomers weekly hangouts, which we try to have every week. Basically what we do there is discuss with our newcomers areas of interest, how they can dive into the community, point them to persons that can be like a tour guide, and other resources that they find really, really helpful. So it's really easy to get into the CHAOSS community at the moment. You can also check our community handbook that breaks down everything I just said here in the most exemplary way and easy to understand as possible. Then reach out to a tour guide. So you can get that through our Newcomers Weekly, but you can also check the Slack channel so that we refer you to a tour guide that can point you to areas that you need help in. And then our community channels, that is the last place you can also ask for help. So don't forget, asking questions and asking for help is perfectly okay. Every single person did ask questions. Now let me tell you what would possibly happen if you didn't know that you can actually ask for help. In my experience, I joined CHAOSS for like sometime 2021, and I didn't make any contributions for the first 3 to 4 months. I would just join the meetings and jump off, because first, I didn't know what we were talking about. Second, I didn't know anybody that I could better ask questions from. And that led me, like, just joining the community. And I felt like I was wasting a lot of time because I wasn't making impact within that 4-month period. But I think this can be a different thing for you if you actually just go through these quick steps that we pointed out here and asking the relevant questions as much as possible. So yes, that is all that I have. Thank you for your time. Yes.
So I have 2 questions. The first one is, and this is kind of general, but so say you have someone who wants to get involved and contribute to the project, but what they want to do is something that the project is, there's not maybe a lot of mentors for, or it's a new thing that's not really happening in the project. What advice would you give for helping someone who's really excited and enthusiastic to contribute, but maybe redirect them to something where they can connect with other people or a mentor? How do you guide someone who maybe wants to do something that just is not available in a project or any community?
Awesome. All right, I think that is completely easy to get on, because our communities, once you join our communities, we give you the opportunity to bring up your ideas in any way that we can improve on our efforts, or even any ways that we can better work towards making the community active. And I'll just give you a quick instance. The project I'm currently working on, a DEI research, it was just an existing issue that no one actually was working on. But then I indicated interest and I brought ways we can work towards it. And I'm currently working on the research right now. So with the help of the community, I was able to ask questions during the meetings, follow up after the meetings, and I was given the directions on where to go about. Second question, please.
This one's just fun. What's your personal favorite part of CHAOSS, or what do you enjoy doing the most?
I think my favorite part of CHAOSS is knowing that no matter how little the idea is, it makes sense. No matter how little the idea seems to you, it will make sense to the community, because so long as it is helping or solving a problem to some of the challenges around community health, definitely it will make sense, and we try as much as possible to bring that idea to life. So like that's my biggest and exciting part of CHAOSS, because most times I think of things and I'm like, no, it won't make sense. It doesn't make sense, because it doesn't make sense to me. But when I suggest it, someone says, that's a great idea, we can actually work towards it. And I get more suggestions on how we can refine that particular idea and make it an actual thing. And it does make me feel good.
Any last question? Okay.
Okay, so I don't know if my question will make sense. Okay, so do I necessarily need to have like a background in tech? Because I do alternative medicine, something completely different from maybe what everybody's doing here. So do I need, because I would really, really like to join community. I'm looking toward transiting into something completely different from what I used to know. So I don't know. Do I need a background knowledge in tech, or can I just join?
All right, that's a great question, by the way. I don't think you need a background in tech to contribute, because most of the things that we try to achieve in CHAOSS are not solely focused on the software or the technical aspect. If you take a look, we have like one-on-one meetings where we discuss things, and sometimes you'll be in the community, you might not need to write code throughout your stay. There's so many persons that are making great impact around research. There are university lecturers on our team. There are different individuals from different backgrounds, and one way or another, they find ways to fit in their skill set. So you don't necessarily need that technical expertise to get involved in the CHAOSS community.
So this is the last question we'll be taking, people.
All right. My question is very simple. I just want to know if there's like a podcast channel or some Medium articles regarding chaos.
Yes, we actually have a podcast channel, CHAOSScon, where we discuss about things within the community and things outside the community around general open source community health and software health as well. So you can follow up on our podcast, the CHAOSScon. If you try to Google it, you might get a pop-up on that. And you can also subscribe to the newsletters so you get updates on what is going on. And other than that, you can check the social media handles. We try to post our weekly meetings updates, so you can also join the meetings through the social media handles as well. Our YouTube channel also gives you an idea of areas like getting started, some of our conferences, down to our weekly meeting recordings that you can also catch up on. Just give yourself an idea of where to come in.
Wow, that was really amazing. Please clap again, please. Thank you so much, Anita, for that. I also want to add that I think I'm a testament of the fact that you don't need to have any technical background to be a chaos contributor. I do not have, and like she said, I'm also making great impact. Yay. All right, great. That being said, the next thing on the agenda is, I don't say it, everybody's going to get excited. Obviously, lunch. So we have lunch next, right? And just the same way we did for the breakfast, we're just going to form a queue, and I think you just have to serve yourself, really. So, who's ready to eat? You are? That's awesome. So please make your way down there, over there, my far left, right? So do we have any ushers on ground to help direct people to? Everyone is still seated. You don't want to eat? Can we please start making our way to where the buffet is, and
tools that's part of the CHAOSS project as a whole. Those representations, those relationships between people are manifest both we collaborate with each other around artifacts and software. So there are two kinds of networks in open source software. When it comes to people, there's direct relations, and sometimes these dependencies can be in the thousands or more.
you can get started.
Yeah, I was still confirming that this thing will not topple over. Okay. I just accept it. Yeah, that's fine. Hey, no problem. All right, ladies and gentlemen, I am so excited to be here. My journey from Uganda to here has been quicker than my journey from the terminal to entering Nigeria. I see the lady is nodding. I think she has an experience of what we've gone through. Huh? If I start talking about my journey from the terminal to entering Nigeria, it has been longer than my flight. But that's another story for another day. Anyway, I'm so excited to see everybody here. I'm just not sure which people are attending with us here and which people are in their own business, because once we know that, we can be sure that we have full audience. And I'm sure they are capturing some audio, so if we're having background noise, I don't think it will be good for production. If we can minimize the background noise and put the concentration here, it will do us good. There are people outside there that are doing any other business. So if you are doing any other business and you think you can't be talking lowly, you can move out and conduct the business from there. Thank you so much. Once again, good. My watch is still in GMT plus 3. It's in the wrong time zone. I almost said good. My watch is counting 3 hours ahead. I'm not sure whether whatever I'm going to present is already reflecting somewhere. And number 2, this laptop is not mine and it is locked. That's how disorganized I am. From my flight, I came direct. Good thing I found lunch already. And after eating lunch, I'm now on the stage. I've not had sleep for more than 24 hours, but that's okay. We shall manage this. Devs work at night. So more productive when I'm tired than when I'm very... Yeah, Ruth. Come on, your machine. And I thank you. Okay. How many minutes do I have? Because I have 20 minutes to make an effective presentation. Jesus, God of heavens. Okay. So, I have my laptop there, but it has refused to connect to the Wi-Fi network, and we were out of time. That's why I borrowed another one. Hopefully it doesn't disappoint me and embarrass me, but disaster preparedness, I've informed you in advance. If you see it misbehaving, it's not mine. It's borrowed. All right, now that I have 20 minutes, I need to know what I'm going to say and what I'm not going to say. And I need to make sure that whatever you hear is going to be meaningful for this presentation. My name is Enoch Kasada. I'm coming from Uganda. That is in the East African part, with Kenya, Tanzania, South Sudan, Rwanda, Burundi, and then Congo on the east. Sorry if you've never been there. That's where I come from. And I am a member of CHAOSS. And in CHAOSS, I majorly contribute to it by managing projects, which the badging bot is one of them. The other projects we manage, we are working with GitHub, partnering on a project that is also having a lot of CHAOSS work within there. And I am one of the people that is developing that project. It's mostly about creating DEI metrics that are going to be put on public repositories. So the way you see contributing.md, codeofconduct.md, we're going to be having another file that may come in future that is called dei.md. So in one time in future, when you meet a repository with that markdown file, you just know it was a product of the CHAOSS community. But today, our main topic is going to be about the badging bot. People call me a scarce commodity. I didn't know I was one because I think they look for me and they do not get me. But I've not also slept in my house for the last 2 months, yet I was paying rent. So even the landlord calls me a scarce commodity. Otherwise, in the badging bot, I'm sure there are very many people that are interested to contributing to this bot, and I hope by the end of this talk you can know where to start from in order to contribute to this bot. One, a bot can be a short form for a robot, the physical robot, or it can be just a program that does that executes pre-programmed instructions on behalf of whoever made it. And for the sake of the badging bot, it's for the second definition. It's just a set of instructions we gave to a certain project to make sure that, am I holding this right? Okay. To make sure that it executes some instructions we gave it to do. And we're going to know what those instructions are. In CHAOSS, we have what we call the DEI working group. I'm not sure, I came in late, but you guys have heard what a working group means? Yeah, it's like just a common group of people that are working together on a particular topic in CHAOSS to develop metrics. And I'm sure you know what metrics means. All right, so in DEI, we have a process that is that awards badges to conferences like this one. Though Ruth, I didn't see the application for this conference. I'm not sure whether it's all right. I'm not sure whether it's fulfilling all the requirements it has to fulfill. So when you submit in your project to CHAOSS, CHAOSS will use this badging bot to help it in the process of reviewing such a conference to make sure that it follows the DEI metrics that CHAOSS developed, which I think now are being adopted at least on, I should say on an international standard, because we've had a lot of conferences that have been badged and they're coming from different continents. What happens is, if we organized the CHAOSScon Africa conference, CHAOSS Africa will submit for a badge, and the use of this badge is just to add, what should I call it? If someone wants to come for this conference, they need to be sure that they are safe. They need to be sure that they'll be welcomed, and they need to be sure that their race, their ethnicity, their professional background will not be despised. And this process makes sure that that thing happens. And how do we do that? I'm now away from the theory part. So for those that that wanted to know the background of that, I'm away from that. I want to now speak to the people who want to contribute to the project. That thing looks like it won't, okay. Oh, it's still loading. I want to speak when it starts okay, yeah, that's right. I've had my CHAOSScon Africa members who have texted me in the different channels and also in my DM about how to start contributing to the badging bot. And mostly there have been new contributors who are looking for where to gain skills from. And the projects we introduced them to are AGA. AGA was the project that you saw here that was being presented, but the audio wasn't coming out right. It's being managed majorly by a gentleman called Sean. Then two, we have the badging bot. We have the badging website, and we also have the project badging, which right now is not public because we're still setting up the initial work for it. But majorly, on the badging bot, This project is developed in JavaScript and mostly Node.js. For Aga, it is in Python and JavaScript for those who use Vue.js. And what we do in Badging Bot, we use the OctoKit library. OctoKit library is a GitHub API library, which condenses all the hard work that you would have done in the VS Code into a very simple line. So if you want to make an API to the if you want to make a request to the GitHub API, you do not need to write very long lines of code. You just need to use the OctoKit library. Once you install it, it gives you very short methods that you can use to have your project running. And just to demonstrate that, I can show you. Okay. Okay. I need to get this down. I'm going to only show you one file. The rest of the files will be up to you to explore depending on what your interests are, since I also don't have time. So I'm going to only show you the main sections of this project, because the other things are like a domino effect. Once you know where the gist is, you can explore the other things by yourself. If you look at the files in this project, there are really not so many, and if there are many, they are mostly in the source folder. That's where we have a lot of logic. This badge assigns a checklist. It calculates results. It checks moderators. It has the ability to issue an end command for reviews. It has the ability to get results for the reviews. There is a function that has not yet been implemented, which is help.js here, where you can ask for help if you are either a reviewer or you are an applicant. And then the index file for the source, where all these other files are called from. And then this project also updates our README file, which is found at, we have a repository where we keep all the badged events. It's called diversity and inclusion. It's also in our organization. And then also, this project has a functionality of welcoming the reviewer and the applicant. But I won't touch those because they're like secondary files. The file I want to concentrate on for you is this. I thought I would also speak about deployment because I mostly suffer managing deployment. And if I had one person who would help me manage our servers, it would be very good on my end. I wouldn't become a scarce commodity. I think because I have a lot of things I manage technically in Chaos Africa, I become so scarce because there are a lot of things you have to give your time to. So, if you look, oh sorry, this was oh no, that is so small. How many minutes am I left with? 10? 5. To make an effective presentation. 5 minutes to make an effective presentation. I am wordy, that's my problem. All right. So, did I touch somewhere? Huh? Did I shake anything? Okay, add me more time because of the battery. As they're bringing the battery, the first time I heard about JavaScript, I was at a Google Developers Conference, and the gentleman who was speaking was writing HTML in JavaScript. What do we call that? HTML in JavaScript. What's that called? And I spent 2 hours looking at things I don't understand. I moved out and I didn't understand anything until after almost a year when I met JavaScript. That is when I was in my ow moments. I call them ow moments because I call them our moments because there are things that you will hear in technology and never understand them until you meet them. That's when you start saying, ah, aye, ooh. So that's why I call them our moments. I looked at code, I didn't understand it until after a year. That's when it started making sense. Why I say that is, if you look at anything here and it doesn't make sense to you, just pay attention. That's in case you're interested, because you may use it in future, and if you meet it, you may also be like, ah, ooh, something like that. So I want you to look at the first line here. The first line here was the line I wanted to show you. That line uses a library that is called OctoKit, the library I was telling you about, and how we use OctoKit. How I want to close this terminal now. Okay, not close it, but okay, let me just close it. And how we use that OctoKit library is we use it to call this object. Now, since the badging bot is an app, we are more interested in initiating a new GitHub app that is going to help us act on behalf of the user. That's why it's called a bot. It acts on behalf of the user. So if you've seen like Docker apps, if you've seen there is one prominent one that checks dependencies in GitHub. I'm forgetting its name. Something like Octo. I'm forgetting its name. All those are called GitHub apps. And here we initiate our app by using only these. I don't know. They look like 8 lines. They look like 8 lines.